We took you to a briefing earlier of pro-Zuma supporters marking a year since his arrest. Let's take you back there addressing police now.
Your issue.
If you want to talk, you can't talk about this issue because you don't know. But if you want to talk about this issue, then I'm going to ask you specific related questions.
Basically, I'll be recusing myself from this process because I'm here. You've come out with a memorandum. I'm not here to debate. We're not in a court of law.
No, that's fine.
Let's just basically finalize these issues and then we can deal with it.
Okay. No. Thank you very much. I think one of the things that we intended to do was to draw the attention of the South Africans to say that we have a ground to suspect that when you lay a complaint against against Ramaphosa, you are deemed to fail. We are saying a queen, an advocate, Vusi Khumalo, sends 31 investigative questions. What was the response of Mr. Mr. Ramaphosa? It was to suspend Advocate Mkhwebane. It is the same treatment that I get here today. The station commander does confirm that he is not in charge of this particular matter, but he cannot confirm that it is still within the procedures and the normal procedures to not issue a case number even 18 days after a complaint was laid. However, for the interest of your time, of all our time, I'm going to read this memorandum and hand it over to this comrade station commander, and the memorandum read as follows. The memorandum read as follows: to the station commissioner, Durban Central Police Station, a case of, amongst other offences, assault, kidnapping, torture, was registered by Mr. Nkosantsha at your police station on the 18th of June 2022 to be investigated. The registration of the complaint was attended to, amongst others, Detective Constable Bandezi. The complaint related to allegations of assault, kidnapping, torture around the alleged theft of money estimated at $4 million United States dollars at the notorious Phala Phala farm, which I think you should have condoned that place because it's a crime scene, which is said to belong to the very same man you call a president, Cyril Ramaphosa. On 27th of June 2022, a letter was addressed to your office requesting a case number. To date, a case number has not been issued or update given. This memorandum serves as demand for the police and your office to serve public, including myself, without prejudice, fear, or any favor. We are of the belief that your failure to communicate the case number and/or act on the matters is indicative of the suspected act of protecting President Cyril Ramaphosa at the expense of ordinary South African citizens. We hereby demand that you issue a case number within the next 24 hours, coupled with a written and a detailed statement of progress of investigation, including particulars of investigating officer. This is issued by One Voice family, myself, Nkosantsha, RET champion, and we therefore would like to get you to sign this memorandum so that we can have a copy that you did indeed receive it. But I'll use this corrected version for, officer, do you have a pen? Okay, thank you. Let's just exchange signatures on this document. Right. One voice.
One voice.
Let me do the same.
I'll sign it. It's fine. Mine. Hello. You don't have to. It's fine.
Oh, why sign now? Why sign now?
Why sign now? Why sign now?
Oh, why sign now? Why sign now?
Why sign now? Why sign now?
Oh, why sign now? Why sign now?
Why sign now? Why sign now?
Oh, why sign now? Why sign now?
Why sign now? Why sign now?
Oh, why sign now? Why sign now?
2023. Why sign now?
Sitting in pendulo, sitting in pendulo.
It's my copy.
Sitting in pendulo.
Sitting in ansabo, sitting in ansabo.
Sitting in ansabo. Sitting in ansabo.
Why sign now? Why sign now? Why sign now?
Why sign now? Why sign now?
Why sign now? Why tata? Why tata?
Why tata? Why tata?
Hey, Chief.
Awesome. Piwe Makanya is on that story. He'll talk to us later just to tell us about what just transpired there. Oh, I think it's Vusi. All right, let's cross to Vusi. Vusi, thank you so much for coming through to us. What's happening? What just happened? What was that story about signing a document, Vusi?
Yes, good morning indeed. What was supposed to be a one-year anniversary marking the year Zuma handed himself over to the police, emanating from the contempt of court for not obeying to the instruction of the Zondo Commission to appear before it's now turning to be a platform to launch a scathing attack against the President Cyril Ramaphosa regarding the Palapala farm saga. With me is Nkosi Senja Sheze, who's the RET champion, who was leading a wine voice protest at the Durban Magistrates Court, as well as the Durban CR SWAT magistrate or police station here. Let us invite him so that we get the gist of what their intention of gathering here early this morning. Mr. Nkosenja Sheze, just tell us about the main purpose of gathering early this morning before the magistrate court and also the CR SWAT police station.
Thank you very much. Our intention was in threefold. One was to lament and remember a very tragic day in the history of our democratic dispensation, where a president, a former state president and the president of the African National Congress, a former freedom fighter who dedicated his youthful years into the liberation of this country, commanding the armed forces of Umkhonto weSizwe during the very dark days of the history of this country, and rising up to lead this country as the president of the country, but was in this day in 2021 illegally incarcerated by the Constitutional Court. And let us pause there and remember who is the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court is the final arbiter of matters of dispute in our society, but by virtue they are the guardians of the very same constitution that we are told it is the best constitution in the world today. President Jacob Zuma's right to appeal, President Jacob Zuma's right to appear before a judge to answer to a particular case with a case number was denied. President Jacob Zuma was sentenced to prison by a constitutional court. A year later, there is not a single thug that has been arrested by the Constitutional Court. So we are coming to mark that day, to say that it is the day to remember, but it is also a day to assess the current epoch that we find ourselves in. Because you must understand that we are not just using this as a platform to attack Ramaphosa. We can't attack Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa admitted that the crime happened in his house, originally the crime of break-in, and he committed the crime by not reporting that crime. It's clear. when a crime is committed, it is not an advice. It is an obligation to men and women of this country to report a crime. And Cyril Ramaphosa failed to report a crime. Secondly, Cyril Ramaphosa admitted that dollars were stolen in his farm, which contravenes the foreign exchange. And out of that foreign exchange, that money should have been taxed, and that tax would have helped my grandmother, your grandmother, in terms of tax. Yes. So Cyril Ramaphosa, I can conclude that he stole from our purse.
As you are concluding, let me ask about what we're here for today. Just briefly, you were opening cases, last month, and you haven't been issued with a case number.
We opened a case against Cyril Ramaphosa. 18 days later, we haven't been finished with the case number. Remember, when President Jacob Zuma was arrested, those foundations, counter-revolutionary foundations, were clapping hands and saying, our democracy is vibrant, we can even arrest a head of state. But what is happening today? They are shielding Ramaphosa. They are failing to expose the corruption that was laid bare by Arthur Fraser.
Okay, thanks a lot for your time, sir. As I'm asking Mapolo, but just to show you the placards that are being held aloft by some of the forces, I must say that some of them, they include RET forces, including Black Consciousness Movement units, as well as the PRM and the ATM, who are also here to be part of this gathering, ensuring that they do mark a year since former President Jacob Zuma handed himself over to the police for contempt of court for failing to obey the instruction by the Zondo Commission to appear before it. And then what was to follow later was chaos and mayhem that led to the death of more than 350 people, with people, rioting in KwaZulu-Natal and also some parts of Gauteng, which also led to the destruction of property. Saying that some of the people who were also involved or alleged instigators, some of them were arrested, more than 15 of them, and also a number of people who were arrested. But the main point of destruction was at Phoenix, the epicenter of the chaos that led to the death of 37 people, with more than 50 people arrested for the for killing a lot of people in Phoenix. Some of those people who were arrested are already going through various stages of prosecution in the Durban High Court, with only some of those people are already out on bail, and some of them are still in police custody. I can also mention one person, Chindra Jaikisun, who also died in police custody. That's all of them. All of that started from here from the 7th of this month. A year later now, we're finding ourselves here. These protesters saying that former President Jacob Zuma was not fairly treated. This also protest here today. We are seeing a number of police. If I can ask our colleague Tulani Ngobo just to show you the number of police who have come here to ensure that everything is on the straight and narrow. They are here to also ensure that the protesters ensure that they are also on the straight and narrow. The protesters, including the RET champions, we are also seeing the ATM members who are here. With that said, it's back to you in the studio for now.
Dungwa, thank you so much for this update. Of course, we've reached out to the presidency for a response, and the presidency is saying they will not be responding at this moment.